You did great.
I'm gonna do it by work for PD.
I'll tell you story later. Okay.
All right, now,
Now we can start. Okay, it is 6:04. Let's bring the call back to order. Let's see, is there any public?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Right. Okay. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from January? They looked correct to me. Anyone want a motion to accept them?
Move to accept. I'll second.
All in favor of keeping them?
Yes.
What is going on with this work plan?
so,
Do you want to pull it up? there?
yeah, if you can pull it up just for folks to see. Did you already make your changes?
I haven't changed my change.
You have a change to your change. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, you just want to bring it up.
Complicated.
It's just moving the month of something.
Okay, then you want to share it with folks, or online folks can see it? Oh, did we lose Amy?
Yeah, we lost him.
Oh, no. Well, we'll see.
I'll
if he-
draw him back in.
We'll see if he joins back. We'll see. All right, so, this is the most updated. So tonight I want to talk about, we're going to talk about the report I sent out. And we have some site visit videos for you all to see. And we're pretty excited about showing those. And then, but all of your other stuff is fine, the CBDG.
Yep. Oh, very much.
There he is. If you want to scroll down, what's your change?
I think. Yeah, so you just scroll down a little bit more. So this, housing needs assessment.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So that item, the housing needs assessment update engagement, we're actually gonna do it in July instead of August because we want to go over some things with you all ahead of our July council meeting. So if we can move that to July. And then if you could just add at the end of that, inclusionary housing policies, there's a couple policy things related to the inclusionary housing ordinance that we want to bring to you all again in advance of July council meeting.
Inclusionary housing, that's it?
Policies, yeah. Trust my watch.
All right. I think I've already reviewed it, so I don't have any changes.
You already made yours.
Yeah,
Anything else?
anything from the board?
Is that gonna make this July meeting be extra long? Since we have all these site thingies?
We'll see how many videos we have. You know? Most of them are about 5 minutes long. We'll see them tonight. So it'll be about 15, 20 minutes of videos.
Yeah, I don't think our item will be too long. It's more of just a heads up and kind of getting some initial feedback on some data work that we're gonna be doing over the next few months. So hopefully it won't put the meeting over 2-hour mark. That's the goal.
We'll have an election for hopefully 1 or 2 advisory members.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we need 4 because, yeah, Katie unfortunately had to step down from the board. She let us know.
Oh, wow.
So we're down to, in fact, all of you are here. We're down to 5 members.
Small but mighty.
Yeah, and so, yes, please,
Wow.
please go,
Extra incentive, right?
yeah, recruit folks. We need more folks. Yeah,
I have spoken to 2 people.
good.
Asked them to reach out to you.
Yes, please. I'm happy to meet somebody for coffee, come to my office, whatever, have a Teams meeting, Zoom meeting, however, I'll talk to folks. But yeah, we are desperate in need of board members because, yeah, Katie had to step down for unforeseen reasons, so, yeah. Only good thing is the quorum is pretty easy. We've seen 3 for quorum.
So is that on our work plan? Does it need to be on our work plan?
That's a good point.
Yeah, we could put it on the work plan. Like,
For May,
when does it open though? I don't know. I don't remember when the
maybe
next,
we can get back to them after we talk to clerk.
yeah, we can bring that back to you. We can update the work plan is just a skeleton. It's not like set in complete stone. We can update it whenever. We'll talk to clerk about when, and we can email you the dates that they're gonna open. But yeah, please, this is gonna be key, especially, I mean, their stuff is not as intensive as my stuff is.
I'm not anticipating that we'll have more than like 5 probably applications for affordable housing fund, but certainly by the fall, if you will want to fill
Well,
out your rate.
yeah, we're gonna need, unless you wanna read 40 applications of these. So,
If people be interested in that.
it's a great board. I think it's a great board. You learn a lot.
You need to get noodles and company more often.
Yeah. Start enticing folks with
I was
food.
like, I think people.
So yes, yeah, we can update, but anything else, and we can approve it tonight. And fix it. As we go.
Make addition.
Yeah, we can always make addendum, so,
Need a motion? for
Yeah.
this? I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
okay. Can you go back so we can see everybody, Amy?
All in favor?
Okay, thank you. Now we lost Jake.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna log back in on a different device.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, now we lost Jake. All right. What's the next thing, Chair?
Report on feature.
Yeah, so this to me is the bulk of the meeting. Really, I mean, the videos are gonna be great, but I wanted to have this conversation because I think this puts us in a positive place.
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to answer if you all read, I actually met with the consultant, so if you all have any questions or thoughts on the report that we sent out last Friday. It was long. There was a lot of surveys, a lot of, Fundamentally, though, what that report says is that, for the most part, agencies are okay with it, but 59% were okay with separating. And so I've met with Boulder County and the city of Boulder, and we all think that this is a good time to separate for a few reasons. One is city of Boulder has actually been they would prefer to open their application later along with some of their other applications. But they've been generously opening up earlier for us because we have the longest process of all of the funders, since we have the hearings and so we as a city of Longmont, we have the longest funding process of the 4 from Lafayette and Boulder County. And so that was a reason to separate. That way city of Boulder can open whenever they choose. They like to open in July. We need to open in June if we want to be done by November, right? So that was one reason. The other thing is I know that this board has, because we've had meetings, we've had task forces, this board has wanted to change the application for quite some time. And because we were part of the collaborative, I always said, yes, we can offer suggestions, but it's a collaborative, and so we kind of have to go through them. Now, this is gonna be these next few months is the time when this board can change the application any way it wants. So what is it that would be helpful for you to make decisions, right? So I think that that puts us in a positive position. And then the other thing, and then, we are going back to council on April 7th, I think you said, to get some direction from council. As you all know, we talked about the 3-year cycle, we've talked about all sorts of different options. So we're just gonna go back to council on April 7th and get some direction. So again, this gives going to our own, we're gonna keep the same platform. We're gonna use the Founded platform. But now we get to design the application process for ourselves. So I think that that puts us in a good position. And I just wanted to check with the board and see what your thoughts were. And then just start maybe taking some initial ideas of what would make the application better for you. So,
Make decisions, yeah.
yeah,
Can I ask a clarifying question?
yes,
Did you and Boulder and the county all share the cost of the Founded
we still do, yes,
license? Is that gonna change?
no. Because we're keeping the platform.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that, because it didn't work last year, so we didn't use it, so how much?
Well, we did use it to take the applications. We
Oh,
didn't,
okay.
we didn't use it to
Review.
Oh,
to
okay.
evaluate.
But as far as submitting, if that was a good process.
Yeah,
Okay,
So the survey, the applicants filled out the survey. data
Right.
From the applicants. and
Yeah.
The majority of them aren't concerned about having to submit an application for us and a different application.
correct.
So it's gonna be potentially more work for the applicant, but most applicants are okay with that.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, again, my exciting thing is we can simplify the application, I think right
That's what
now.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think it's extremely long. And a lot of, I don't know that there's some things in there I think that can be summarized or removed to make it a little more efficient, I think,
Mhm.
because they're long. I think they're long.
Well, and remove some of the duplicating.
Duplication of
Yeah.
efforts, yeah, that same thing, they're cutting and pasting
yeah,
and change a few words down below. So maybe, I don't know what all those are right now. Obviously, I don't know that we're prepared to.
Right, right. No, and I wasn't expecting us to wordsmith the application tonight. I was just trying to get some initial thoughts on where to move from here, given the fact that we have this opportunity.
I think aligning our questions with the format of the application would help too. I find myself scrolling down, answer question number 2, and then scrolling back up to find the answer to question number 3.
For the evaluation piece?
Yeah.
You know what we could do? Here's a thought. And again, this is just getting direction, is we could, I think we could just base our evaluation, our application on our evaluation.
Yeah. Can you
Like the
run,
sequence?
The questions.
can you come up with like the format of kind of our questions and run it through AI? Do you have that capability? Like to kind of help with the flow, maybe? I don't know what you can and can't do on the city side.
That's a great question.
Because, it can really help format things in a logical way that maybe we don't see as easy.
Yeah, I can try and do both, take both the questions from the current application and also take our evaluation questions and see if I can get AI, to help. Yeah, I
I
can
think
try.
it could be really powerful. And then obviously we still have this final say, but it can really help maybe refresh it all.
Yeah,
We have an AI governance stuff. I don't, from what I'm remembering from that presentation that we had, I think that would be okay, but we could just run it through that governance structure that we have. I think it's fine because there's no personal identifying information.
no,
It's really about content and summarizing. So, but yeah, I think we're good.
It just could be really helpful to not start from a blank,
Yep.
piece of paper, and it can really give you a good structure. And then edit it to make it more personal, more.
well, I really like our evaluation questions. It was just, to your point, it was hard to align them to the application
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah,
And so I think, our evaluation question, because it's really about how did this program help the Longmont community? How do you do outreach to the folks that need it? You know, there's a question about commitment to equity. So I really like our evaluation questions and maybe
Yeah.
putting those through AI and see what they
Yeah.
come up with a.
Please create a grant application based on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because yeah, they don't need all those applicants. They should.
Do you have the city have their own, like AI platform?
So I think the city, there's some of us that, I think some of us are using Copilot. I don't have access, I mean, it's on my thing, I've never used Copilot, but
I can.
yeah,
Pilot, some of those, yeah.
yeah, ChatGPT or whatever, yeah. We can take a look at it, we can talk to our governance folks that are,
Yeah,
that,
could be an opportunity.
yeah, I agree. And at the same time, if you all want to think about things that would make it easier for you and then just send it to me directly, that'd be helpful too. So,
At the same time.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I thought that report was really interesting about, you know, what was helpful, what was hard. We had a really good conversation with the county and with the city when we went through it, and with the consultant. She did a really good job of reaching out and interacting with the nonprofits and getting their take. I mean, the things that we're concerned about is confusion, and there's always confusion. And so this may cause a little more confusion, so I think, you know, I have to be more on top of getting the word out and steering people to it. But yeah, I still think it's a good opportunity for us to take, because I know that this board and previous boards have been kind of wanting to modify the application, and I think this is the chance that we have to do it.
So we can add a question about the youth.
You can add questions. Well, now, here's the one thing to think about, again, depending on where council gives us direction. Right, so what if councils, I mean, they can give us it's their prerogative to give us direction, right? You know, Christine and I have been talking about things like, what if we, for example, limit and say you have to ask for 10,000, no more $5,000 requests, right? We need 10,000 or more. Or we could talk about, hey, you know, you have to serve so many, maybe we put a floor on how many. Because we have funded agencies that don't serve they serve real deep, but not really wide. So we could talk about that. We could talk about in the past, when Jake was on the Housing and Human Services Advisory Board, people got points for serving certain populations, for example, immigrant populations or single parent populations. You know, we could bring that back to, like, we want to focus on populations. So yeah, I'm not sure what council's gonna bring back. And then we got the other side of the human services funding, which is the homelessness and homelessness prevention work that we do as well. So they're gonna get to provide.
What's our lowest grant?
$1,500.
That's a lot of work for $1,500.
Exactly.
I mean, not
More than
that
that.
every dollar is not worth it, it's just that that's a lot of time, effort, resources from both sides.
Yeah.
When you look at their time or city attorney's
Yeah,
time.
everybody.
I
And
feel
the
like
applicant's
probably
side.
more than-
Yeah, I think it's probably going.
Right now, there's nobody.
There is no
Add
minimum.
on to your prompt,
Potential.
Oh, 5,000.
we can do the priorities in there.
Yeah, the top 3 priorities we set on last year, do those carry over to this year? Or do we?
You all get to set that.
That's part of our work plan, is to set those priorities.
Yeah. And again, council will give us direction on April 7th as well. We just need to be ready by May, because we're gonna probably launch in June, so we need to be ready by May to.
So if there's direction in April, the application's gonna change. Not a lot of time.
No, it's gonna be a quick turnaround.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
really tight.
That being said, if we simplify the application,
Could be done.
it could be done, right? So we don't have to, like, right now we give agencies like 8 weeks. Because as you all said, it's a very long and complicated application. If we end up simplifying it, maybe we give them 4 weeks, we give them a month, you know? If we're simplifying it and asking more straightforward questions.
Yeah, just for context, the Affordable Housing Fund applications, I give them 4 weeks. I feel like that's a sufficient amount of time.
And you ask for a lot more than we do, don't you? Ask for tons of stuff.
I ask fewer narrative questions. It's more like,
Okay.
I mean, there's like financial attachments, but I think in terms of like the storytelling questions, you have more.
Yeah, we have a lot of storytelling questions.
Yeah. But I've
Especially if
never,
they do a video.
and you can always, on a case by case basis, like if an agency reaches out, says, hey, we have an extenuating circumstance, can you give us an extra week? Like you can choose to grant,
We've been pretty.
that's in the board's,
Yeah, I know.
in your decision, but.
Yeah, I know. We've been pretty strict about that. It's like,
Yeah.
when we give them 8 weeks, we've been pretty strict, like, hey.
Yeah.
You know, we're opening it in June, you're not turning into August and that's, no.
Yeah, but if you were to shorten that time.
Yeah, we're sure we could probably, yeah.
consider having like a extension request.
Right, yeah, I think if we shorten it, then we could think about it, but giving 8 weeks and people not turning it in 8 weeks, that's,
Yeah, I agree.
we've been pretty strict about. It closes at this time and we're not accept, unless it's an issue on our side, like found goes down or something, then we're not gonna accept late applications when it's 8 weeks long. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think this, I'm excited to hear from council, excited to hear from you all as we develop these applications.
So does it make sense, just in terms of kind of order of how things go, to propose that we take like a first pass of the application and change it up? Do you all want a subcommittee to look at that? A subcommittee of two, to look at that?
Well, you can have a lot of-
How,
Yeah, you can have subcommittee of 3. We just got posted. We've done subcommittees of 3s like
right.
in the
Do you
past.
want- Like, how do you want that to happen? Our next, board meeting is when?
I think it's like March 13th or March 12th.
March 12th.
A month from now.
We would go to council in April to talk about human services funding. So we'd have a month before that. Like, how do you want to use the time in the next few months to?
I mean, I liked, when you came and gave us like the ABDC options, and then we picked from the different variations.
Okay.
So if you had a couple of different prompts that you ran through with AI, that might be able to help.
Okay.
Yeah, I can bring that back in March.
Yeah. Okay.
Sanjay, any thoughts?
I've never really gone through the whole application process at all, so I'm sure there's
Yeah,
issues
you're
that need
new
to be
this.
fixed, so.
I don't think it's about being, it's about being more efficient and effective.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I totally get it.
I mean, if we did break it up and do something like if there was a $5,000 and a $10,000 and like a scale of different kinds, you could always have like a very teeny tiny version with like 5 questions for.
Yeah, and so
5,000.
and we could think about that. We've never, since I've been on city staff, the board has always moved away from telling people how much to ask for. But that doesn't mean it has to be that way forever.
I just think some of those numbers were astronomical in comparison to like what we actually had to get.
And that's why, and I've been going to council since 2023 saying, hey, folks, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing the need increase and the resources stay flat or grow a little bit. So we've been talking about this with this board and with council for a while now.
Right, and part of what we'll do in April is give council a picture of like, this is what's happening at the county level, at the state level, at the federal level for nonprofits. And that's why this fund is impacted because of like, it all goes down the line, right? Like if they're getting less, then they're applying for more
You
in
know,
other areas.
yeah. I think I did hear and I saw Boulder County put out an RFA. I don't know where they found it. They found $2 million. And they put out an RFA. You have to apply for $100,000 or more. So that kind of limits who applies.
Mhm.
You can't ask for less than $100,000.
I'd like to just find $2 million.
Yeah,
It's fine. I don't know where they found it, but they found it.
I forgot, do we have a cap on how much the maximum award is?
No. And that's the other side. We never asked, we never told them how much to apply for. We never said you can't apply for more.
Yeah.
Well, we do have so there's not a cap on how much you can ask for. We've always had a cap of you can't, so you know how we do the percentages per priority area? We've always had you can't receive more than 50% of what that area has, we've allocated via the percentages.
Yeah. Have you ever received any feedback where applicants have said, listen, the projects I am pursuing are too expensive. The city doesn't offer enough. In other words, we're not
Well,
disincentivizing.
everybody wants more. I mean,
Yeah.
so, but never,
Yeah.
that,
Well, like the $100,000 requirement for this is going to generate big projects at Boulder County. That's what Boulder County is focusing on. Like, don't.
yeah, but that's a one-time, I don't think it's an ongoing $2 million. It's like, here's a one-time, we found $2 million.
But there's some grantors that set aside money for like once in a lifetime type projects.
We've never done that with this funding. This has been ongoing funding, program funding for a long time.
Yeah.
Um,
Just wonder if we do want to catalyze a big idea, make a big difference, would it make sense at some point to consider setting aside,
Thanks, Sange. Have a good class.
Fun.
creating a reason for an applicant to think in a transformational way.
So let me try and understand this. So what you're saying is, could we set aside?
So kind of like Martha's idea, these different categories, these different amounts. So small projects, medium projects, large projects. And
So, but
would it incentivize an applicant to think big if we said, we have a portion of our funds that are dedicated for a once in a lifetime or a generational type project, and you're capable of receiving $250,000 in funds.
So I don't think we could do that because according to the ordinance, this funding, or it's not the ordinance, the financial, what do you call it? It's for program support,
Okay.
not project support.
But I think thinking in those terms, like that goes back to the question about how you want to fund. Is it gonna be really diluted funding where you go a mile wide and an inch deep?
Yeah.
Or to your point, is it more focused and you go an inch wide and a mile deep? I think that's part of the policy discussion that council
Yeah.
needs to weigh in on. But what is your recommendation to that too? Like, do we bring forward a recommendation to council that looks like X or Y?
Yeah.
And then they have that discussion and then tell us.
That's true.
I mean, for me, it always comes back to impact. We have a
Right.
limited amount of funds. How can we maximize the impact? And that prioritization exercise we go through, I think, helps us all come to consensus on where our priorities are.
Right.
But are there projects in those categories that have more impact, and should we enable those? Right.
Well, and then you gotta
those
think-
programs to proceed.
Yeah. And you gotta think about if you do that, is it a one-time thing where, they're not gonna have funding to do it again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So right now, most of our funding, I will tell you, because I'm doing through all the budgets, most of our funding, the vast majority of it goes for program staff, right? To run the program that they applied for, or program supplies. That's typically the vast majority of funding. So we're paying, not like, our funding doesn't cover huge portions of people's budgets, but we're paying 10% of a program coordinator, a program director, program specialists is what we're covering. For the programs that you reviewed and they applied for. Sometimes we're paying for program supplies like, after school supplies, or, to do stuff with the kids. That's what I've seen, or in some cases, we're paying for therapists, right? So some of our mental health folks, we're paying for therapist fees. And that doesn't cover a whole lot, because we don't have a lot of money. In some areas, we're actually covering childcare slots. So we're actually paying for childcare scholarships. In some areas, we're paying for preschool teachers. We're paying part of the salary for, which is what this money is meant for, right? For the program delivery of
This program.
this program, right? So
So to me, having levels makes sense, because it sort of troubles me where we give, a few $1,000 and then it all goes to, like, there are these really small charities, right? And we're supporting them. Maybe we shouldn't be helping charities that is that small.
and I think I told this group that's a really good point. I think I told this group, I sit on the Longmont Community Foundation board, and the Longmont Community Foundation made a decision a couple of years back saying, we are not gonna fund the big agencies. We're gonna fund justice. So if your budget's more than $1 million, we'll fund you through our direct, what's it called, our donor advice funds. But for our competitive living give, they tend to fund those nonprofits. And I think we talked about it, not with, I've been on here for so long now. I've been through so many housing and human services advisory boards. We did have a conversation a few years ago about, well, what if we were to say, we're only gonna fund agencies that have $1 million budgets or more, or $1 million budgets or more. We did, and the board at that time voted not to. They kind of want to leave it open as we have. But that could be part of the recommendation we give council, that, hey, this is something that we could do.
Because to me, it's just inefficient to have these tiny charities.
So again, that's where we would say you got to have 10,000 or more, we could set a limit.
Set a floor on it.
Yeah, set a floor.
And then, Martha was talking about the different levels, that's interesting, an interesting concept. I don't know how much more complicated it might be,
I mean, it might be more complicated.
Because if you come up with if you have a small organization, I guess that depends on what we set as the floor.
Right.
I mean, if we say the floor is 10,000, then it's not going to be exactly, I was thinking of on the long lines of like an express application or something like that. That's a little bit, for less money, but getting back to that, what is that amount? We'd have to have that conversation.
Because I'm thinking of like the smaller ones, like My Wellbeing or the autism one. Those, they didn't ask for
A whole lot.
exorbitant amount of money.
No.
And I would rather fund something little and specific and niche that has a big need than.
So the challenge here would be like, if we then say also like if you were to say, okay, you have to serve at least 100 Longmont residents. Right? Some of those agencies don't serve that many.
Yeah.
Right? They may serve 50 residents.
Or be based in Longmont.
The base of Longmont, I wouldn't ever go there because there are agencies like EFA that has Atwood, but even EFA, they only have so many, they do the housing, they provide the shelter for families, but they only have so much space. They don't even serve 100 people a year. They might serve 27 people. I think it's 27 people that they have, like several, that's about 5 or 6 families that they're housing. Again, that mile wide, inch deep, or mile, inch wide, mile deep, right? Because EFA's only serving 27 people in Longmont, right? And they're asking, I wish they would ask for more, but I'm never gonna tell them that. 'Cause that's not our.
They might know that if they watch
If they watch the video, I always tell folks, hey, our meetings are public. But anyway, whatever the case may be, they don't receive a whole ton of funding from us, and we help pay and what that money typically is used for is their case manager. Like, we help cover the cost of their case manager. But they only serve 27 people.
Which is weird on its own.
Well, because that's how much people they can, that's the space, that's the building they have.
Yeah.
And it takes time for people to go through to get the job, to save, and then to be able to move on. You need to give folks time to do that. That their model is, we're gonna give you the time you need to get on your feet and be able to move on to the next level of housing.
So maybe because we started looking at collaborating, right? But we made it sort of looser requirement. I mean, to me, that could be really.
We could add a collaborate, like we could put a, you know,
Yeah, we have a good question.
we did ask a question and we weighted it.
Mhm.
And we could encourage folks to apply as collaboratives for fun. I mean,
Be an interesting concept to see what the economies of scale
Yes.
would be if organizations do that and how that would impact the number served, populations.
yeah, again, I think this is why I'm excited about the move that we're going. It opens us up to have these types of,
With it being split up, are we still gonna be able to see where people are served? Cause I actually like that feature in Fondant, that we could see like, oh, they're primarily serving Boulder, or they're primarily serving.
probably not, we're gonna have our own process, probably won't be able to see. And remember, they want to open later,
Mm,
so we could be done with our applications when they even open up.
oh, I see.
Yeah, so we probably won't have access to their process, right? Because they're gonna have their own process and they want to open up in July and we want to open up in June.
Cause I am interested in if they're actually serving people from here.
Well, we'll ask them if they serve you, I mean, of course, they have to tell us how many they project they're gonna serve here.
We can ask them if they intend to apply for funding in one of those other three funders and how many Longmont
So,
residents they may serve through those grants.
well, we
We
could,
wanted some context, some regional context.
again, but I think the idea is to continue to make it, I mean, we already are at that complicated part. I'm trying to think, I would think that we want to make it simpler, not
Yeah,
adding more questions.
yeah. But Martha, you're saying that it helps you as an evaluator understand if our residents are receiving services in Boulder or
Well,
Lafayette.
we wouldn't know that.
Well, I looked at it gives there was a thing on there where it separated it out, like.
Yeah, there's tables, it says, who are you projecting, where are you gonna project the service, and so you can see like they're serving 500 in Boulder, 100 in Longmont and 50 in Lafayette. You could, yeah, I guess we could keep that table, again. We could keep that table if you think that that's helpful, but I'm just always gonna be recommending like, hey, how do we simplify this
Yeah.
process?
Yeah,
I mean, even a number like 27 would be helpful to know.
Well, that's always in the application.
Okay.
That's always been there. There is a table that, the project, demographic table shows, here's how much the program's gonna serve.
Like for the things that sound alike, the organizations that sounded alike, I looked at that number.
Yeah,
Who had the bigger Longmont number?
Yeah.
And they gave that one a higher score than the other.
yeah. Yeah, so we'll still do that. That's not gonna go away. We can't go away from how many folks you're serving in Longmont. But again, I think this is opportunity to ask those, those questions. And then again, April 7th, we'll see what the council says and we'll give them options as well based on what our conversations are.
So then are we gonna need these to be done? Like in the next 3 weeks or so that we can vote on them in March?
Yeah, I'll try and get them done the next 2 weeks or so. I'll look at the video and get some ideas on what we talked about. Like, for example, I have to flesh out some of this stuff, like. Do we do
It was just an idea
yeah.
because of the little David group and then big
Well, yeah.
Goliath group, and they're going against each other.
Well, again, that's one of the options to Cassie's point, is we say, hey, Little David Group, the Longmont Community Foundation serves smaller agencies. We're gonna serve, because we want to have the widest, broadest impact, we're gonna serve the Goliath groups that are serving 300, 500 people a year or more. I mean, our center probably serves 18, 20,000 people a year. they have touch points.
Yeah, I'm torn because I mean, I would think that someone like the Our Center is always going to get a priority with this group. So even if there are some smaller organizations, I think Our Center is still going to get funded likely. But every organization started off as a small organization at one point.
Yeah.
And to your point, maybe there's a niche organization that doesn't exist, and all of a sudden it emerges, and a need is met through this new organization.
Well, I think a need is
Just
met
like a
with,
small amount of money just to get started.
well, and that's true, and I would argue that a need is met with every fund. I mean, this funding is meant to meet needs.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
not $1 that this funding goes out that isn't meeting some sort of need.
Yeah.
Again, the question is, to your point, is the impact.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what you gotta think
Yeah.
about. So I don't think that any folks that you all recommended to be funded, I think they all meet some need. Everything from helping IDD youth get work and work training to helping youth not, to help them with their suicide ideations. I mean, I'm just thinking about all the agencies that we funded, right? I don't think there's not one agency that's not meeting some need. Again, the question is impact, because we can continue as is, but we continue to dilute.
Yeah.
We continue to dilute the funding but everything's meeting a need. I don't doubt, I think you all did a good job of evaluating, and everything that you all is meeting a need. It's just really, how do we best use this funding? I mean, maybe council, you could say, hey, we give it all to the art center, or we give it all to the early childhood folks, we give it all to whatever, it's really about what is the most impact we can have along with this funding. So yes, I will work on these ideas and bring you all back some options in March for you all to think about, and then we'll take what we think is best to council, and I'm sure council will have their own ideas and thoughts, and then we will work really hard in May to be ready to launch in June. April and May are gonna be hard-working months.
So May is when
I'd like to be
has those 5 categories. I think it was 5 categories.
6.
6.
Yeah,
That's in May.
the priority, yeah.
Okay. Cause I think that was a major accomplishment last year. To go from 6 evenly weighted to 3 that stood out.
Yeah, no, I think that we had that meeting in April. It was a Saturday morning, if you guys remember. That was great. And you all decided to open up direct financial assistance, and guess what? We funded a lot of direct financial assistance this year because of that. Because of the decision you all made. So we're helping people with their rent now with this funding. We're helping people with car repair, which came out in the, so yeah, I think that was a decision you all made in April. It was great work that we did then. And I'm proud of what
Jake.
Oh, sorry, Jake, do you have something to say? Councilor Marcy?
Can you hear me okay, team?
Yeah.
Hey, I have my headphones in. I guess the mic's not working. Hey, I really appreciate listening to the conversation. The only note that I have for this board is that as you evaluate kind of these big picture funding framing conversations, take another look at council priorities. Because when we go back and actually the retreat that we're going to have on the 27th and 28th of March is going to be really informative, because this is one of the conversations we're going to have about how we want to address these kinds of human services community needs. So the outcomes of that and new council priorities, I think the timing of that really lines up well. So feel free to kind of follow along with that. And just as you think about it before it goes to council, knowing what we're thinking, what we've said on these issues may be helpful for the board. So just wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Councilmember. Yeah, so I think we're just in a prime time to have conversations, and I'm excited for where council ends up, and then, where you all end up and how we match that, and, how we move forward. I just think it's gonna be some tight turnarounds toward May and June, but that's okay. We'll make it work. All right. Anything else on this topic? Thank you all for the great conversation.
Video time?
Video time.
Yeah. where's-
All right, so you,
And
you,
How many we have?
right now I have three. I wanted five, but I only got three back in time. But, all right, so how does this work?
Ready?
Yes, this is the in-between, this is the first one. right,
Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we'd put our hands under the table.
Well, you know, I will say, we did say, hey, and you board, the board said, it was kind of like,
Yeah, at
yeah.
least put it under.
We did not ask for
I'm
like
distracted.
full production,
I'm-
but yes, I think she was nervous. So now you're gonna see a more, this is more, it's still great, a little bit great, but this is a little more produced, polished, yes.
I would love to see,
About that for a second.
I was just gonna say, I would love to have seen like what it looked like, because I've called them to refer people and never get a call back. So I'd have loved to, of like what it looks like now.
So we did try, again, we didn't ask for that, you know,
Just Tim though.
yeah.
They have multiple properties. The brick building
I've left messages.
right across the street. And that's where their food pantries is, because I got a tour of it.
Yeah, yeah, but we didn't, just to make sure that we all understand, we didn't ask for that, but we could in the future. But this is a little more produced and polished. So you want to play that one?
You guys ready?
Days a year. This is right, 5 days a week from 8 to 9 in the morning. And lunch 7 days a week, 3 to 1. Per year. And nutritious meal. Regular routine. It's a place of count, consistent meals throughout the week.
Right, the last one for tonight. We'll talk about whether you like this and stuff like that. And before we go into the discussion about what you think of yours, I just want to say, when I started here in Seattle, I was my first job and I hired Norma. Yeah,
Here.
yeah, I was the program director at the time and I hired her. And she's been there and she's done an amazing job over in Europe. But this is about, what do you all think about doing site visit this way? Is this helpful? Do you feel you get information that you need to make decisions? Yeah, I'd just like to get your feedback.
I've taken clients to the art center and it looks like they've grown. Since, and added some things since the last time I was in there, so that was cool to see all the things it offers and how many people it actually is working with.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, only 101 families were served, you know, out of 678 applications. But I think that talks more to the need and the challenges we face as a city. I think that's beyond the human services. That's housing, that's economic development. That's a much broader conversation. That's at Jake's level of conversation. That's beyond us. But were these videos helpful?
I mean, if you
Yeah.
guys want to take that conversation, you have at it. I mean,
Oh, no,
I'll pass it
no,
on
no,
happily.
no,
I don't know.
No.
Anybody's got ideas on how to solve all those problems, I'll take them.
No, I mean, I think they really are really helpful, but it's different from, and I mean, I didn't get a chance to actually go to any site visits, but it's different when you go in.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Right,
Mark was speaking to, he's actually been to a site visit.
Yeah, we do a couple, and I was just kind of, that's what I was thinking while we were going through the videos is. I don't think it's, and I like the videos, they did a great job, I think it's a snippet, it's a summary, it's quick, you can't ask questions. You know, you may have some questions, you may go to intercom and really have some questions you want to, you don't have that opportunity, so that's a takeaway. But the summary, it's more of a summary,
Yeah,
it's kind of a tour.
yeah, it really
Really,
is.
it's a tour, so I don't know, I mean, I think. I got to 2 last year, I wanted to go to 3, and I did 2. And I thought the 2 that I did were very effective, I thought they would really help me understand the organization, what they're doing, ask questions. It's way more than 5 minutes, but it does take time, effort, and time is a precious resource for everybody, so it's hard to, you know, I'd like to commit to 3 this year, but I don't know that I can, you know, and if, I mean, how many do you go to that you have board members with you?
I hardly have
Yeah,
any,
so
because most of you were.
everybody, yeah, it's hard to do that. So is this a better substitute for that? Yeah, better than nothing, I think. But it's, I like to ask some questions too, and it's always good to kind of.
That being said, I think,
It's hard.
so I think that there's no agency who would say, oh, we won't, I think if you see this video and questions come up, so for example, what you said about the in-between, we can follow up.
yeah, no, that's.
Yeah, we'll follow up. So if questions come out of these videos, we can always follow up and bring them to you, right? So it's just, that doesn't diminish, the videos don't diminish the ability to ask questions. It just makes it, you know, you won't hear until, you'll either hear by an email or via the next meeting, right? Where when you do the site visit, you get your answer right then and there.
But I think some of the questions come up at the site visit.
Yeah,
You know, I don't think some of the questions that you might have on a video are gonna be the same questions that you have, or if any, you may not have any questions. I mean, on the tour, they're just really sharing what they're doing. It's not really the opportunity to do a back and forth. So you may not have questions on a video
right.
that you're gonna write down and email them and wait for a response and all this kind of stuff. When you're at the site visit, you can do that. So, I mean, I don't think they're bad at all. I think we all talked about this maybe being more effective. Just kind of playing both sides,
Yeah,
you know?
and the
Bring
reality
both
is,
sides up.
it is hard, I mean, we all have, when I do it during the day, and so many of you have obligations, you're working, right? I think since, you know, since I've been here, mostly it's just me going to doing site visits.
What are your thoughts? I mean, you do a
So,
lot of
one,
site visits.
you know,
all of them.
So I've been thinking, I don't know, that's a good question. I've been thinking a lot about, you know, this would allow, so we have, the way that we do site visits, we do them every 3 years. I feel comfortable that if we were to go to this video set, we could do them every 2 years. We could shorten the time. Because ultimately what the site visits are for is for or at least what the board has wanted, is to get to know more about what the organization is doing, right? So you can learn. And so one of the questions I asked, if they answered in that I is, yes, you've heard a lot about, I did ask, what are your successes and challenges? But I also asked, hey, how is the city of Longmont funding supporting you, right? So you've heard a lot of like, well, we get to do this, we get to do that with the, and so that's been a lot of what I've been asking in the video, for the videos. I made it simple. I think I've asked just 3 questions.
Yeah. If the goal was to get more information on the site visits for the board, is that working? Has that worked? I mean, if the board can't attend the site visits.
So it's really what you get from my presentations when I do them. Yeah, that's why I thought the videos, at least you get to hear from them and not from me. Because really, if the board can't go because of work and all this other stuff, then, you know, these videos, at least you get to, because you probably hear the same thing from me.
Yeah.
So it's just getting to hear from them.
I mean, they were a little infomercial,
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's an infomercial.
And
I like
yeah.
commercials sometimes.
So, because I used
Yeah.
to, you know, when I was doing banking, we would go and you'd go to the conference room and everything was wonderful. And then you would walk around and talk to the people. And it was a big, big difference. That's,
Yeah, but
you know,
again,
but we can't do that, you know,
Yeah.
so.
And maybe it's, I don't know how you would set up your schedule. Maybe it's kind of like a hybrid
Yeah,
approach. You know, that you're not sitting in there all the time, but you know, every other cycle is I don't know, maybe there's some sort of a process that's not all video or all live. You know, I don't know. If you've gone to the site, you feel comfortable, maybe the next one's a video, or something. I don't know.
yeah,
Something.
yeah, we could do that. I could do the site visit, like with our new agencies in person and with agencies that we've been funding for years, we do a video.
And are there specific questions in a
Right.
video that you would want to ask?
I thought it was helpful. I mean, I was a little bit familiar with some of those organizations. I've been in some of the buildings, but it did provide a little bit more depth of understanding about those organizations. But I'm just imagining, you know, how many applicants were there last year?
62.
So I just think we saw 3. I think that if we have a similar, you know, 3 to 5 minute infomercial about 60 organizations over the years, I don't know that it's going to provide as much depth of understanding. I wonder, I think it makes sense for you to be in those buildings as often as you think it's important. So I think
Yeah,
that, separate that from.
We
the
could,
board, I
we
think
could
is
do
important.
that, because yeah, kind of a hybrid model.
But Brett, I wonder if, you'd mentioned maybe a video, when we're talking about evaluation, I wonder if a video associated with the application that is specific to the application. So like in the Hour Center, they talk about 4 different programs. Like what if, I think it would be helpful for me as a reviewer for there to be a video that says, this is what, if you give us $25,000, let me show you what that money is going to do. It's going to allow us to
Yes.
feed more people. Here's the
Yeah.
pantry. And right now, we're limited on the amount of food we can buy for our residents. I think that can bring the application to life.
But what about the hearing?
Well, the hearing is it's just them being interviewed. It's not, you know, a tour. It's not interacting with people that are actually benefiting from
It's like
their
their first
organization.
video.
Yeah, the first video.
but we ask a lot of questions.
Unless they have
Like
a
a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm open to, yeah, I'm open to, I'm just, yeah,
That would tie the video back to the review, which is what our job is to understand what the application is and how it's going to impact the community.
yeah, and depending on how we modify the application, maybe a video could be a part of it, but.
Or maybe videos for the ones you're not visiting in person.
Yeah, and I still think I would say, if we're gonna go that route, I'm gonna, you know, I would suggest that videos would be okay for agencies that we have funded for years, that we know, that we trust, that, you know, they've been
A
producing.
relationship with, yeah.
Yeah.
So the new ones,
We need to go visit them and see what they're doing, and,
you know,
okay.
Make sure there's nothing sketchy going on in there.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the thing? The restrooms or something? We were.
So, okay,
You
Well,
really
they-
want to make sure that you have to show up unannounced.
Oh,
yeah, that one,
Right.
I wouldn't do that.
But you.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that, sorry. All right,
that's a child welfare district.
So were all of those at your request or were some of those?
no, those are all my remarks. Whether they still haven't gotten to me. Yeah, yeah. Right after our board meeting, I went out and reached out to 5 agencies that I've been working with for a long time, that I meet with regularly, like, I meet all the time. I meet monthly with the Art Center.
Yeah.
If not more often than that. So, all right,
Is that helpful? The feedback you got?
yeah, well, I'm gonna try now to design a plan that's kind of hybrid where I'll bring, yeah. I'm still gonna go after some videos that I know that I think would be really good videos, and then I'll also work on, okay, here's what I wanna see in person. So I have a tracker, I shared it with Amy, here's the people who, of course, we always do a site visit with new agencies, that's just what we've always done. And then I have already done the cycle of who's up again for their 3-year the 3-year piece. And so I will work on that with Amy and then start scheduling in-person site visits. All right. And that's all I had.
Anyone have any other business?
Jake, did you say you had some announcements for the board?
I do have 2 items real quick. Sorry, everybody. Give me just a second. I've been kind of hopping around tonight with bedtimes and everything. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Amazing. So just a couple notes, and I will make this fairly quick. So first of all, really appreciated the discussion tonight. I think a lot of really beneficial pieces of information for me in terms of how you all are thinking about this process as we kind of as a council consider it. 2 quick notes, and maybe Christina can speak to the first one because, you know, when the work of this board comes up in the business of council, I think it's important that you all know about that. And one of the ways, here, I'll turn my camera on real quick. And one of the ways that it has come up in the last 36 hours or so is through the funding that this board authorized for the YMCA. And Christina, I don't know if you want to speak to that in any capacity or any way, but yeah, I mean, that's a piece of the conversation. So if you hear, you know, Christina, what you sent today is maybe really valuable informationally for this board. If, you know, I want to defer to you whatever you think is relevant for their knowledge in terms of what's been discussed at the YMCA, because there's some discussion from them that we cut funding, which is not entirely the full picture.
Right.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, there were, at council's meeting on Tuesday, several community members that came forward and just talked about, getting an email from the YMCA saying that they were closing, that the city, basically was gonna take over, operations. The city issued a statement kind of outlining where we were at in that process. One of the people that spoke talked about the YMCA having to shut its doors, what they understood, shut its doors because of loss of funding, and included Longmont, city of Longmont in that. And so Councilmember Marsing emailed me, chatted Harold, emailed me and said, can I just get more information on that? And so this morning, yesterday morning, my days are blurring, that I basically just put together an email that gave that information in terms of what the programs are that this fund supports, what the kind of 5-year, going back 5 years, what Human Services has funded. And just provided some additional data to that. As you all know, this is a competitive funding process. We don't dictate how much people ask for, and a reduction in award isn't tied to what the city funds. It's tied to the scores that the agencies get, right? And in fact, we've had a little bit of an increase in that line item, the 3% that we had. And so yeah, Councilmember Marsing wanted to just have that information, and I shared it with the staff. I'd be happy to send that to you all if you think that is some information that you want as well.
Yeah, I did a little bit of analysis. I mean, the standard deviation between the amount of funding was about $18,000, which is not a huge. And the one thing I did tell Christina, if you think about the YMCA's announcement, they are closing their recreation site. Well, you know, we've never funded that. Mm-hmm. They're not closing their early education, which we do fund. They're not closing their school program, which we do fund. They're not closing their summer camps, which we do fund. They're closing that side of the business, which we don't fund through human services funding.
And that really, that's the clarification I think is really mindful for this board, that if you hear the word, well, the city cut the WISE funding or whatever, that really is the clarification. I think that's good for this board to understand and to know. And if you all have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to council or to myself. Lots of folks are in the community right now. I think we're getting about 80 emails a day. Yeah. And then the second piece that I just wanted to mention, and sorry, I did turn my camera off because you don't need to see my shaky face in my living room. But the second piece that I wanted to mention is relevant to actually how you all choose your members. Well, how the board, excuse me, how council chooses your members through the board appointment process. And I wanted to just give you a quick update that process is very likely going to be changing in a couple of ways. This board does a really good job generally with the process, but basically for those that are new, the way that it's worked in the last few years is there has been folks apply for open positions on boards, a subcommittee of the board interviews and recommends. Those recommended candidates then go forward to council interviews and then council votes. After some consideration based on some situations we've had, not with this board, but with other boards, we felt the need as a council to make some changes, and the changes that are currently in process, they're not official yet because it's a rules of procedure issue, so it has to go through first and second reading at council. The changes will be that boards will still hold interviews with all applicants. Those interviews will include a staff liaison, and you two have some of the best, you have two of, if not more, of the best staff liaisons that we have in the city, in Christina and Liberto, so, and Amy and the whole team. So staff liaisons will be included in those interviews, as will your council liaison, which is me in this case. So we will all hang out, interview these applicants together. Those interviews will then be recorded and included in council's applicant process. Application assessment before voting. Council will no longer interview candidates directly. That is not going to be happening moving forward, at least under the current proposal. The additional change, just some codifications of things. If you are applying for, and I know this may be challenging on boards that are a little bit understaffed at the moment, like this one is, it may be challenging, but the goal is that we do not have anyone who is actively reapplying for a board or commission appointment be a part of that interview process. That is fairly self-explanatory, I think, but we're codifying that. And then we are also codifying that everybody, including reapplicants, has to interview. So some boards have taken it as practice that if you are reapplying for an appointment, you do not have to interview or go through that process. You have to apply but not interview. We are going to really be clear in codifying, either both through language and through direction to staff, that everybody's got to interview if you're applying, whether or not you've been a member of the board or not. So those are kind of the two things I had. Does anybody have any questions about any of that or anything that I can help out with otherwise?
No, I would say that we've basically, except for the last one that's new to us, like we only did the subcommittee like the first year, and then the board wanted everybody to do it. So we've always been having it. We always reported, have the whole board do the interviews. But that last piece is new. Typically what we've done is if somebody's on the board and they're reapplying, we interview them, we just pass them forward. But yeah, we can start interviewing them.
Yeah,
I think I
and that really is about,
So
no, go ahead.
interview.
I was very depressed because it was the day after the last meeting.
Yeah.
Have a bad day.
But that's really good to know. Yeah, so we can make sure that we get ready for because we really need to recruit folks this next coming and know how do we do it.
100%. This is definitely a priority for our recruitment board. So y'all tell your friends, man, what a great time it is on
Yeah.
HSAB. If anybody has questions, I'm happy to answer them now, or you can send me an email. In general, we're just trying to make sure that the process is fair and transparent and that everybody goes through the same system, regardless kind of whether, and we appreciate the service, obviously, but we just want to make sure that everybody gets the same system. And also we want to reduce the amount of staff time that it takes. Scheduling multiple rounds of interviews is pretty cumbersome on staff. And so we're trying to reduce a little bit of that workload. At least that's the stated goal. So yeah, and hopefully we get some more folks to join the party at HHSAB. Let me just say, I know I sent an email out a bit ago about how thrilled I am to be able to be the liaison for y'all. I view this as a chance to really sit back and let you do your work and be a support piece for you. I will be there as often as I can be, whether virtual or in person, but know that if you reach out or if the chair or staff needs anything, I'm here. So, and I'm looking forward to being able to provide some direction in April because I certainly have thoughts, but I think your recommendations would be really appreciated as well about, do you go an inch wide to mile deep or vice versa? So if anybody has anything, feel free to reach out, but I appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I got.
You ready to call it?
Oh,
Anyone want a motion?
a motion.
All right.
I'll second.
Second, all right. Thank you. Good meeting. Yeah, I'll bring some stuff back in March for the ideas you guys have shared. I think that's great.
Isn't new liaison?
Yes, he just started this year.
It feels different because our last